Our superintendent, Dr. Rollo, is joining us in studio today, and Dr. Rollo is back to talk about the 2025 bond election. So Dr. Rollo, thanks for being with us.
Absolutely, thank you for having me.
Of course. Well, we had you early on after the bond was called to just talk about what we were doing, why we were doing it, and what was in the bond package. So we thought it'd be a great time with early voting upon us and election day to just talk about that again.
Of course.
And so if you can just give us a quick overview of what the bond package is and what's in it for our students and families.
Okay, certainly. So $17 million of the bond is towards safety and security upgrades across the district. And that includes some fencing improvements, exterior door replacement, some security filming, upgrading fire alarm systems, upgrading security cameras across the district. So that touches every campus across the district. The largest portion of this bond is around efficiencies, and that's $151 million of the bond. And the biggest portion of that is the construction of 3 new elementary schools. And this is reducing our facility footprint by combining 6 older, smaller buildings into 3 new modern elementary schools. So it's Stewart and Williams into a new school, McWhorter and Wolford into a new school, and Bean and Hodges into a new school. And then there's an addition of some space in the cafeteria and kitchen at Rush Elementary, since the Overton students will be joining them next year. And it's the addition of a new science lab wing at Atkins Middle School, since the O.L. Slayton students will be joining either Atkins or Dunbar next year. And then we also have some academic programming included in this bond, and this is around middle school fine arts and science. So it's a refresh of the auditoriums at every middle school in Lubbock ISD, as well as fine arts classrooms renovations, and also science lab renovations. And then there's some CTE, or career and technical education expansion, particularly around here at the Byron Martin ATC, and that's around welding, culinary arts, as well as our healthcare professions pathways. And so it's some updating of spaces there to accommodate more students as they go into those courses. And then capital renewal is also a part of this bond, and this is not the glamorous stuff, but it's very important. This is HVAC, roofing, some drainage improvements, electrical, some locker room renovations.
Well, there's a lot to do in that bond package.
Yes.
But it's also important for our viewers to know that we're able to do this without increasing the INS part of our tax rate.
Absolutely.
So tell us a little bit about that.
So our voters have already approved in previous elections a 17.5-cent INS rate. We have paid down our debt that we currently have at a faster rate than expected. We've paid that off anywhere from 6 to 8 years earlier than expected. And because of that, we have capacity within that 17.5 cents to service the debt that would be incurred with this bond passage.
And that's important to know because the bond language is confusing for people, because
Yes.
it will say on the ballot, this is a property tax increase, which is required by the state.
Yes, that came out of the 2019 legislative session, and the state says that anything above your maintenance and operations tax is a property tax increase. So it will say that on the ballot, but the property tax rate will not go up with this bond.
Well, that is important to know because, as I said, election season is right on top of us.
It is.
So tell us about early voting and election day. Tell us the dates and where to get more information.
Yes, so the early voting starts on the 22nd and goes through the 29th of April. There are multiple locations for early voting, and you can find all of that at votelubbock.org. And then election day is Saturday, May the 3rd. It's also lemonade day, so go get some lemonade and vote. This is the only item on the ballot, so please vote.
Of course, yes. You can go to the Cinco de Mayo parade on the 3rd and get
Yes.
lemonade just to celebrate our opportunity to vote and be a part of this election and share your voice.
Absolutely.